Namaskar friends. Once again, welcome back to video 9 of week 12. This is going to be a very optimistic video session. We'll talk about the next decade of forensic linguistics, wherein we'll look into the global visions, expanding roles, and future of linguistic justice. Today, we'll walk into the future of justice. Forensic linguistics is no longer simply responding to crime. It is shaping how justice systems evolve. As digital platforms expand and global communication becomes faster, anonymous and more complex, the role of linguistic expertise will deepen. In this session, we'll explore how global organizations imagine the discipline in the next decade and what responsibilities future experts must prepare for. Yes, we'll talk about the global shift from supporting investigations to shaping justice systems. Friends, forensic linguistics is moving into the next phase. Earlier, linguistic experts were called only for complicated cases, whereas the new global institutions envision the discipline as a foundational component in digital forensics, in cybersecurity, in misinformation governance, in national threat intelligence, and in international judicial cooperation. Friends, language is everywhere, and therefore, linguistic expertise becomes central to justice everywhere. Friends, when we are moving into the era of AI-driven crime, that will definitely demand AI-literate linguists. The future crimes will involve AI-written ransom notes, synthetic hate speech campaigns, machine-generated misinformation, voiced cloned threats, and automated impersonation. Global think tanks agree that the future forensic linguist must be AI literate. They must decode patterns that machines produce, but humans do not recognize. Linguistic justice will depend on experts who can differentiate human authorship from algorithmic authorships. Friend, the next generation authorship analysis requires beyond ideolect to behavioral linguistics. Authorship identification will evolve from focusing purely on linguistic habits to integrating behavioral indicators like narrative patterns, emotional pacing, interactional signatures, or we can say discourse decision making. Friends, I do believe that the future expert will analyze not just how someone writes, but how someone thinks through language. This deeper cognitive linguistic approach will strengthen investigative attribution. We are in the era of global misinformation warfare. And in this era, linguists can be the guardians of truth ecosystems. Governments and global bodies see misinformation as one of the greatest threats to social stability. Linguists will soon be part of national truth defense units, analyzing narrative construction techniques, propaganda metaphors, coordinated linguistic patterns, and influence strategies. Friends, this discipline will move from analyzing crime after it occurs to preventing social harm before it escalates. Now, When you talk about future global frameworks, it will recognize linguistic rights as human rights. These may include the right to be understood in court, the right to fair translation, the right to use one's dialect without prejudice. Forensic linguists will help ensure that legal systems honor linguistic dignity, especially for vulnerable communities. International courts already consult linguists for asylum hearings. This role will expand significantly. Friends, when it comes to cross-border investigations, at this point, linguists can bridge between jurisdictions. As the crimes increasingly span continents, forensic linguistics will support international authorship comparison, multilingual threat assessment, cross-cultural discourse interpretation, global cyber investigations, and so on and so forth. Experts will collaborate across borders, sharing corpora, tools, and comparative linguistic models. The next decade demands linguists who are globally aware and culturally sensitive. Let's talk about another angle of forensic linguistics in corporate and financial crimes. Friends, banks and corporations worldwide are integrating linguistic analysis for the purpose of detecting internal frauds, mapping whistleblower narratives, identifying deceptive communication patterns, and analyzing insider threat messages. Regulatory bodies foresee a future where financial compliance teams include linguistic experts. This expands the discipline beyond criminal courts into economic governance. When we talk about the courts of the future, where linguistic interfaces, automated transcription, and AI-assisted evidence review, I can assume, I can foresee, I can feel that in the coming decade, courts may use real-time linguistic analysis for testimony, AI-assisted comprehension tools for long documents, semantic search for retrieving linguistic evidence, and voice authentication systems for admissibility checks. However, experts will remain essential for interpreting these outputs. Friends, technology can organize language, but only humans can understand it. Now, if we want to train the future experts, we need a new curriculum for the new era. I believe that the next decade will require broader skill sets: strong linguistic theory, computational skills, AI ethics, cross-cultural analysis, digital communication behavior, legal procedure literacy. Friends, educational systems worldwide are redesigning forensic linguistic programs to prepare multi-skilled experts who can operate at the intersection of language, technology, and law. In the coming time, I also see that ethics will become more important, even more important than the earlier one. As the tools grow more powerful, the ethical risk increases. Experts will face dilemmas related to algorithmic manipulation, AI-generated description, privacy breaches in surveillance, cultural misinterpretations, and misuse of linguistic profiling. At this point of time, global organizations emphasize that future forensic linguists must act as ethical leaders. by being the guardians of fairness in an increasingly automated world. We can say that the time will come when we'll have global discipline with local responsibilities. The future is global but grounded in the local realities. Experts must understand the language of their region, the digital habits of their population, the cultural nuances of communication. And friends, if it is acquired, if it is understood, the global vision is powerful only when it respects local linguistic ecosystems. This is where India's diversity becomes global advantage. Friends, the future needs linguists who are brave, skilled, and ethical. The next decade will reshape forensic linguistics into a strategic pillar of justice, security, and digital governance. I am very much grateful to you people for being with me on this session. Thank you very much. In the next video, we'll explore how national and international bodies work together to build collaborative frameworks, unifying research, policy, and investigative practices across borders. Unless I catch you there in the next video, stay tuned with the course. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.